So the very first thing you're going to do is go to create a design, click this button, custom dimensions. It's going to automatically be in pixels. You're going to want to work in inches. The reason why we have you all do this, if you want to print these out at any point, if you had this in inches, it will print out just normally. If you had it in pixels, it will print teeny, teeny, tiny. So just know that that is an option if you do have access to a printer. I'm going to do 8 by 10, 8 being my width, 10 being my height, create design. Okay, just for kind of sake of time, I already got started on something else. My computer's been running real slow lately, so I'm going to open what I've already got started. So for this one that I'm showing you, I'm going to do the animal design. This is not going to be the first one that you create. You'll be creating this one second. So for this, very first thing that I did was I changed this title here. It should say untitled and then the dimensions of your canvas. I just double clicked it and then I changed it to tiger because I decided that is what I want to create. I want to use an image to reference. If you don't want to use an image, you just kind of want to make it up without looking at anything for the animal one, that's fine. I prefer just having kind of a reference. So obviously I was actually inspired by this right here. I don't know if any of you watched Tiger King on Netflix, but oh boy, what a dumpster fire that show was. Okay, so anyways, I decided to pick this image to reference because I feel like something like this with its mouth open and a lot of details with the teeth was going to be too complicated. And I only want to do a portrait. So I don't need something where it's all like the body of the animal because it's going to make it hard for me to really see the details of the face. So this was the one that I actually chose. When you pick out an image, don't just download it from these thumbnails. Make sure that you click it so that it opens into a little separate window. And then I right click and save image as. I downloaded this, so I just had it easily available. From there, onto your left-hand toolbar, if you click on uploads, you see I already have it here, but you can easily upload any image and have that at hand. So I did this, can click that, so now I've got my reference image. Okay, I'm going to go to elements because for this project you are just going to be using shapes pretty much to create your designs. Now Control plus, zoom in. Break up your image into simple shapes. Don't try to create the whole thing at once. So maybe the very first day you create, I don't know, like just the main features. So maybe your first day, if I was creating this, I would just do the nose area. And then day 2, I would kind of build out from there, maybe do the eyes. Day 3, I would start building the face and maybe a little bit of the chin area. And then the last day I would be doing all of my details of my stripes. So don't try to do everything at once. Just pace yourself. Okay, so the very first thing I'm going to do is my nose. I'm noticing that it looks similar to kind of a heart shape, like a stretched out heart shape. So I'm going to click on heart. I'm going to resize it by dragging that corner down. Okay. And from here, I'm obviously not keeping it gray. So I'm going to click on this little square right here. You don't have to make yours exact. If you want to change up the colors, let's say I want my tiger to be, I don't know, purple and I want the nose to be blue. You're totally able to do that. You're the artist. If that's how you want to make your tiger look, that's fine. Well, we're not all making tigers, but just saying if you want to make your animal kind of funky, go for it. I want mine a little bit more realistic, so I'm going to click on new color. I'm going to go to pinks. And I'm going to try to find one that looks somewhat similar. I would say that one works. Okay, so now from here, I'm going to resize this. Okay, and now I need to make my nostril area. I almost feel like this looks like a little triangle right here, and then this is an oval. So that's what I'm going to use to create this shape. You're not going to be able to do every single shape in just one go. In fact, I might even add something to fill this area in. When you're filling areas in, you're not going to see that you have multiple shapes as long as they're the exact same colors. A nice thing about when you're adding your custom colors, so actually I'm going to do that first before I do my nostrils. I'm going to fill in this space right here with a circle. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out, so control minus, too much, control plus. When you do your custom colors, it does save those for you, so you don't have to try to match them all on your own. And like a little circle in there. Does this look weird? I don't know. Maybe a little bit. Oh, too much. So now I'm going to bring that in, squish it into kind of an oval shape, and fill in that top area. So it's somewhat of a divot, but not like a perfect heart. So again, clicking that square of color. Now you can see I've got my custom color there. After I've done that, you can't tell that it's multiple shapes on top of each other because they blend in. Okay, so now from here, I'm going to do my nostrils and do that triangle shape. I'm going to do a circle below it. A circle, I mean oval, because that is not perfectly round. Okay, so we're just going to keep squishing and mushing and use this little curved arrow toggle. That is your curve if you want to like curve a shape. And I'm going to connect these two together. Maybe I need to make this one a little bit bigger. Okay. Cool thing about this program is that the shapes will kind of like lock in and line up, but if you're needing to get something exact, you can use the arrow keys that you can move it exactly where you need it. Okay. So I would say close enough. From here, I want these both to be black, and I'm not leaving them exactly right there. I don't think that looks accurate, so I would want to move those around. That seems like a whole headache to try to copy this exactly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group them by clicking and dragging around them. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and I'm going to drag out. So again, holding down the Alt key, I click dragged on my mouse and I moved away from it, and now I've got a copy. Okay, this needs to be, let's group these. I'm going to group this one too. Not all of them. So I'm just selecting around them. You can also click group here. And then this one, I'm just going to rotate. Maybe I'm going to ungroup actually so I can rotate my triangle so it's not looking funky, or a little less funky, I guess. Control Z, undo. A good keyboard shortcut to utilize. All right, line them up. Again, they want to lock in shape. I like to use the arrow keys. And now I'm going to group that again. Okay, so from here, I'm going to make these smaller. Maybe that's too small. Boop. And boop. All right. Okay, so now I've got pretty much my nose created. If I wanted to be super fancy and add some highlights in there, I could. Maybe I go in and think, okay, how can I layer 2 or 3 shapes on top of each other? Or maybe something simple like this curve in a lighter pink. I can also add this shape right here by doing an oval and a line. Be as detailed as you'd like. You can also simplify this. It doesn't have to be so detailed. Please don't just do a circle and pop 2 eyes and like a smile on it. I think you can do better than that. Okay, so once I have my piece created, I can then group all of these together by just clicking around them and moving them around. So now let's say I start building more things. And I want to put this on top of another shape. So I'm going to do my circle. Maybe that's like this, mostly like most of that shape. You can see how now it's behind. If I want to bring that in front, you can either do position, forward, or to front. I can also send the circle backwards. Another good keyboard shortcut is Control and use the bracket keys. You can see how that brought stuff forward and backwards. Okay. Kind of up to you what you decide you want to do, but that is another nice shortcut. Okay, before I get too far, because this is going to be white, I'm going to want to change my background. For the animal project, you're going to want to make your background be an environment that your animal will be in. So I'm going to go down to backgrounds. I already typed this in earlier, so I'm going to do a jungle background, which is not working. Cool. Maybe I'm just going to do green. Do a nice green background. Kind of like this ombre effect, looks kind of sweet. If you don't like the top color of your ombre, you can change that as well. Maybe I wanted a darker green, fading into a lighter green. I think that looks kind of sweet. Okay. If you want to be extra fancy and click around and kind of see what other colors would look like, go for it. Okay, so let's say I worked on this for a while. I've got all my shapes and my colors, and it starts to look like an animal that I'm using. Once you're done with like a little bit of an area, I would say move on to the next day. When you're completely finished, you do not need this picture here anymore. And as you're working, you can move this around on your space. If you go too far off the screen, obviously you can't see it anymore. But you can go ahead and delete that so that it's just whatever you created.